This episode is sponsored by artexhibit.com. Showcase your work, connect with the art industry, and build your own art store with zero investment. Artexhibit.com, built to create.
Hello, welcome back. I am the Painted Lady, and I'm with the beautiful Miss Cat Rodrigues. Hello, lovely. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing lovely. It's so great to meet you.
So nice to meet you. So I had the pleasure perusing your Instagram, kind of stalking your Instagram a little bit. I was looking at your beautiful black and gray work. Walk me through your piece for the show.
So I've been an ink artist probably since I was in about high school age, like 15, 16.
Which was like 5 years ago, right?
I'm actually 31.
Shh, you don't have to tell anybody.
I've really, over the years, I would say past decade or so, I've really gravitated towards really layered work using cross-hatching techniques. I think, especially now in my exploration, I'm trying to take more of a almost like a brushstroke technique in some of my cross-hatching work. So it's still kind of that traditional cross-hatching approach, but really kind of being more chaotic about it. I've always really admired some other crosshatch artists who are very, very intentional and directional with some of their line work. And that was like a big way of how I sort of started off when I would kind of attempt to be an ink artist in that regard. And I think over time, especially with this guitar as a good example, I've really kind of dove into a direction of just kind of being much more multi-directional in some of the cross-hatching. So just kind of having that sort of brushstroke, or more of that sort of oil painting technique where you're just kind of like laying out, blocking out different colors. But in this case, since it is black and white, there's no color, but I'm still kind of like just doing mass amounts of blocking out with lines and not really just being very messy with it. All I know is that this is mostly dark, this is mostly light, so I just kind of start with that first layer, and then I just kind of keep eating at it as I go.
I love how you call it messy because it looks absolutely fabulous. So when you went to do this design, what made you choose like the bird skull and things? What was your inspiration for that?
Yeah, so for the front side of the guitar, I work in VFX technology and motion capture, and so naturally I think I tend to lean sort of like a little bit of a cyborgy robotics, AV design inspired route. And because of the nature of the guitar, I knew that in the front of the guitar I wanted to be something inspired by that idea. And I was also really excited to create almost like a opposite backside where I'm still kind of continuing that kind of like raven skull or raven personality idea, and but making it more like dead nature, organic, and with the front side or more robotic side, I kind of wanted to feel almost futuristic, but clearly very rusty, very kind of like it's going to look like it's breaking down at some point, while the backside still has that sort of old, about to break down kind of fossil look. So it's almost like no matter what end of the spectrum you're in, whether if it's more historic old or more futuristic, it's all going to kind of end at some point.
I noticed that kind of like organic flow throughout your work, though, like even looking like the elephant and even the Grinch, like there's more of this like organic feeling of everything's kind of broken down. I don't want to say simplistic, but it just has this like very natural nature feel to it, but it's very layered, which I love about your work. So you've done a good job at capturing that. So walk me through like what got you started in art.
Whew.
Maybe it's a lot, but a couple things. Like your pinnacle, like, oh yes, I want to do this.
I would say the root of it began with my siblings, and because I'm the youngest of three, so naturally I'm always going to look up to my siblings, and they were super into art and rendering with color pencils, and really trying to, again, we were, at 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, we're all trying to kind of push our rendering techniques at that age, and we were surrounded by a lot of really amazing art mentors, where I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I believe that just kind of started the itch. And then once I've gone to high school, I went to an arts academy also in Elizabeth, New Jersey. That's where I met still one of my best friends now, Anna Pinheiro. She is a Cuban artist and instructor at one of the high schools, and she became an extremely huge mentor for me. And she was constantly pushing me and telling me, like, you need to apply to, like, art school. You have to, and she just really made it feel like a very real possibility. And one of the only people that told me, like, yeah, if you want to go in the creative route, you want to go into animation or games, you absolutely could. And I think just having at least that one sort of adult mentor telling you, like, it's a possibility versus everyone else saying, you gotta be careful. You probably want to go the backup route and choose something, and maybe in STEM, mathematics, etc., before going full head into something more on the creative side.
It's so funny how so many people push in that, like, safe zone. They're like, oh, make sure, you have that plan, you have that thing that's going to be like your backup in case that doesn't work. It's crazy how we can't just push kids forth into, like, yes, you can do this, or yes, please, pursue your dreams. So thankful for your friend to give you that push. That's fantastic, because you wouldn't have brought forth this beautiful piece today, So I was also perusing your stuff. You ride motorcycles?
Oh, that was funny. No, that was for, I do spontaneously go out and do, like, just random physical activity, like windsurfing, or in that case, dirt biking. I wouldn't say it's like a regular hobby of mine. I have so many hobbies as I do now.
That's good.
No, it was just one of many just kind of spontaneous kind of activity. I wanted to go out and
always pull that out, because
really
I appreciate ladies that ride motorcycles. So,
do you ride motorcycles yourself?
I do.
Oh, awesome!
So that's very cool. So what are some other mediums that you use as far as your art?
Ooh, yeah. Pen and ink is definitely 90% of what I do. I've done a lot of digital illustration. There was definitely like a window of time where that's all I've ever done was digital painting and illustration. I haven't done that quite a while. I don't know if it's just sort of my own subconscious reaction to, like, AI art kind of being out there and just flooding the internet. And not to say that I still don't believe that digital art is still a beautiful kind of medium. I think it just inspired me to kind of take a step back on it, because it's right now there's just too much bad digital art out there. And it just kind of inspired me to do more fine art and more kind of just working with direct medium. But besides that, I definitely want to go back into oil painting. I think oil painting, being so similar to kind of a lot of the techniques I worked with digital painting, I would say that would kind of be like a next medium.
How do you feel about the AI stuff that's going on right now?
Ooh, so for me, it's a very interesting, there's a lot of layers to that question, not just as a visual artist, but I also, I work in motion capture technology. I work in VFX for both AAA games and features, animation. And so there's a lot of angles that AI has influenced and affected me. So naturally, there is a sort of acceptance of how AI optimizes some of my, like, more technical workflows when I'm working like within studios or the game studios. And it can be extremely beneficial, like, to the creator as sort of like an assistant through the process. I think as an artist, it has definitely knocked me down a little bit, I would say, in as far as just wanting to really, I don't know how to really put this. It definitely cut a lot of motivation when it first had, like, that big boom. I think now it's starting to die down. Like, some of those AI generated images that you get from ChatGPT, or I think it was like, there's a couple other, like, applications and different, I mean, they're all kind of very similar underneath the hood. And I think that really made me discouraged in the beginning, but I think after getting over that discouraged hump, I just feel that much more motivated to do things that are way better than what AI can create. Because now I'm definitely seeing the air bubbles, working at it on the professional level I work, but also just kind of doing my own, like, internet navigation and just really trying to see what it can produce. I definitely see the air bubbles, and I don't know, I guess knowing the enemy, like enemy in terms of how it might, affect fine artists, I think it made me feel better about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love hearing that. I love how, like, you're like, oh, okay, cool. You think you can do that? Well, I can do it way better. And I think that's how people should take it. Because, yeah, it's just spouting out kind of like generic crap. Like, oh, no offense to the Wally Worlds out there, but like, you know, you see this plain t-shirt and then you can see what 10 times better than it can be. So
there's definitely a common denominator. Now I think we've all kind of built that muscle where we can kind of just see right away.
Oh yeah. Like, you're like, that's nothing special. Yeah, definitely. So along your journey through art and things like that, because you've been doing it for a long time as a young child and things like that, what is something you would tell your younger self as an artist? As far as like challenges you've been through, like, okay, this is, you know, maybe one little nugget of wisdom you could tell your younger self as an artist.
I love this question. I'm so happy I came second in this interview because I was thinking about my answer when I was listening.
I know, now you're cheating. You're all listening to like, now I'm going to have to get real creative, you guys.
You guys are all cheating. So I would tell my younger self that for those who tell me to find that backup or warning me, like, it's very competitive, be very, you know, you, in this type of, and I guess, backing track, the advice I would give myself is not just for some of the more traditional illustration work that I love to work at, but also kind of like that other second part of my life, like working in visual effects and game design. I would tell her to not think about how competitive the industry is. Like, of course you have to be aware of it, but that is the only thing people usually think of when an aspiring artist says, I want to do this, but you know, not many people make that much money in it. It's very competitive. And the thing is, although it's well intended, if someone really wants to do it, they're going to do it anyway, but now they're not really going to do it with the full force that they could have, because they have this weight of all these people mentioning all the negatives of it. I always compare this concept to Yelp reviews or Google reviews. Anytime someone has a bad experience, you're going to hear about it. People write about it. Yeah. When people have a great experience,
you're hardly ever going to hear about it.
You don't hear it. And it's also human nature. We listen to the bad news more. We remember the bad things. If someone gives you 10 compliments in a day,
you're going to remember the one bad thing you heard. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off, but it's so... Yeah. It's so commonplace to hear, like, to remember the bad things. And it's great. Like, you always think about that. You're like, gosh, why don't we just focus on the positive sides of things versus, like, the negative outcome?
So I would probably tell her that, like, don't listen to the noise too much. Like, take it with a grain of salt and just go right into it. You know, I definitely feel like I've wasted a couple years of doing more because I was probably paying more attention to, or just telling myself I just couldn't do it. The competition is too hard. Why even try? I'm just going to kind of dabble with it and not really push myself to a better, height. Yeah.
You feel like that's come with more like age and experience, though?
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. Like with many things.
Absolutely. What was that one person you've kind of met along your journey in art that's really kind of, besides, I know you're a good friend, kind of pushed you that way, but have you ever met like a mentor or someone that you've really wanted to meet in the art world, or someone you looked up to that you've kind of like taken a little piece of their wisdom along the way that's kind of pushed you in a better direction or kind of changed the way you've looked at things?
Yeah, it's so hard because I feel like I've had a lot of different mentors along the way, and although they may not have been illustrators or painters, I looked up to them in kind of, again, going back to my sort of second life, like maybe in something within motion capture or VFX. I've definitely had a couple. I would say one that comes to mind really quickly would be an old mentor and boss I've had in a previous job. His name is Dave Washburn. He was a mocap supervisor for like 2K games for many, many years, as well as like Nike, etc. And although he wasn't a fine artist specifically himself, he was always a great kind of like inspiration to me as someone who, achieved a lot of many things, was a very positive, impacting leader. But he was, he was also just such a chill, laid back dude that, could do all these things, but didn't also feel like he had to kind of promote himself. I don't know where I'm going with this. Well, I guess, I would say Dave Washburn has been really great and just kind of, again, letting me know that, hey, if you lean really hard into this craft, or if you have 3-4 different crafts that you excel in and you just lean into it, share it, talk to people about it. Don't be too humble or too modest. I think, especially as, I don't know if it's being a woman in technology, VFX, and art, it's very easy to want to be especially modest. You don't want to really brag too much about what you do and those kind of things. So I think having those mentors that tell me like, yeah, like just apply to things, apply to galleries, apply to shows, and or apply to that really big position with that AAA game studio, and like have the audacity to show up, be like, yeah, I am good enough for this.
Do you feel like that's kind of crazy though? Like that we have to have that mindset of like, oh, I'm a female. Like, oh, I need to like put myself out there and I need to like take that step a little further. Do you feel like, I don't know, do you feel like this day and age we finally like broke that stigma, or you feel like we still have that like gate to push through?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's an interesting one to answer. Oh man, I might have to think that one through a little bit. Besides for just simply saying yes, I do think there's a little bit of extra promotion that you have to do for yourself. I think it's, I feel like it's very common where you see, I don't know if it's exactly gender specific, but I know I've definitely seen like individuals who are, very talented, but I might also know especially talented friends or connections who don't necessarily push themselves out there, which is, unfortunately, I do feel like we live in an age where not having an online presence hurts way more than having an online presence and accepting the risk that comes with it is a lot less risky than not having an online presence at all. Mm-hmm. And I think for those who are especially talented and don't really have that extra sort of business management side of themselves or that marketing side of themselves, end up not succeeding or having those opportunities as much as those who do. And I think sometimes circling back to your question, I think as a woman, you definitely, I don't know, I guess I personally don't like showing myself with my art too often. I don't know if it's just like a certain shyness that comes with it. And then if you do, there's always that worry of, well, if I don't fit that social look for, like cute enough girl with this super cool art, like, will it be as impact? I don't know. I guess
it connects that stigma. Like you feel like, oh, okay, I could show this guitar. Are they going to think a man created this art design? Or are they're going to like see, oh, well, a woman designed it. So, so it almost creates that kind of battle in your head, whereas nobody could be thinking that. But maybe that's just like the stigma that you get in your mind a little bit.
Yeah, potentially. I might have to read that. I might have to really do that question more.
I'm going to give you some homework, Kat. I'm going to give you some homework. But, okay, so moving on from that question, let's circle back to what mediums are you exploring? Are you exploring anything different? Because I know you're working with like stop motion. Is that where I'm hearing? Is it stop motion, or what is you were talking about what you work in as far as like work line?
So work, I've been working in motion capture for about 10 years or so. So I've always been kind of like on set in production, either working directly with the technology, dealing with like the technical back end that consists of like managing servers or different machines, software, or I'm working directly as like an operator and recording data from like different actors, performers, and assisting with retargeting that motion onto. So that's all kind of like my bread and butter. That's all kind of like my bread and butter since I've graduated from college. As far as like outside my, day job, so to speak, I'm super excited to get more into puppetry actually, which sounds like very different from this, but I've been taking like puppetry classes and looking at different puppetry templates, and sounds super weird, but I don't know if that's just kind of like that part because I come from that sort of technology but performance background. I'm really interested to see how virtual production can be applied to puppetry, and then all the character designing that comes with it as well. So kind of still pulling that artistic side.
I love it. I feel like it's coming back though. Seth Rogen revives like the Muppet Show.
I know.
I was so excited. I'm like, oh yes, really? I need that.
I think puppetry for adults is going to get much bigger. I've been going to Brian Henson's Puppet Up whenever he's like in town and doing it. And I always just have so much fun. And I know there's a lot of other kind of like smaller, more indie level puppeteering shows around here, and whenever I see them, I try to go to them. I recently signed up for like the LA Puppetry Guild.
Oh, I
that
love it.
exists,
That's so
and
cool.
I recommend it.
Okay,
It's so
we need to
much
go
fun.
see that. We need to see that. Oh, I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you random questions. What is your favorite scary movie?
Woo, probably Pan Labyrinth.
I love it. I love that. So you like Guillermo del Toro,
Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Absolutely.
What did you think of Pinocchio? Like,
Oh my
speaking
God,
of like
I
marionettes,
cried.
I did too.
And also
It was
just
very emotional.
Yeah, and just the craft of just like all these sculptures and the more like physical creation of the sets. And I used to live in Portland for a little bit in between. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know if you saw just before I moved back to LA in Portland Airport, they started putting some like the actual
They did from all the Pinocchio
figurines.
stuff. Yep.
And oh, man, I was so excited.
I used to do the producer from Leica's hair. And so I got to, when they were first creating all like the Coraline stuff,
Yeah.
he was talking about that coming out. So yeah, all that kind of stuff. I love the claymation and so fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, okay. Where can we find you? What is coming up for you? Besides the show this Saturday, what is coming up for you?
Ooh, I think I'm probably gonna be actually resting more from just some of the things I've been mixing around with. I just came back from like the game design conference, where I've just kind of had back-to-back meetings with just other like technical artists, animators, like motion capture professionals, etc., and just kind of discussing some of their projects, our project, and some of the things that we're working on. I mean, unfortunately, because of NDAs, I can't speak too much on some of the other games that my team is working on.
But big things coming.
Yeah, I mean, just naturally. Currently working with PlayStation Studios. I've been there for like about a year, and it's been awesome. The team there is fantastic, and I've been super excited just to kind of learn about all their innovation development that they have going on. So that's been really fun. I'm actually really looking, so besides for the puppetry stuff, I'm also looking forward to working more with like skateboards, which I just missed your guys' show, I know. So it was kind of bad timing. I just finished one just the other day. That was pretty fun. So just going to kind of continue jamming along, working in the video game side of things and kind of continuing exploring some of the work I'm doing and reach out to galleries and just continue navigating through all those different interests.
I love it. Well, keep your eyes on Miss Cat. Your socials again. Let us know.
Cat Mari Art. So Cat CatMariart. And if you need to get in touch with me beyond Instagram, also Katarina, my first name, at catmariart.com.
Thank you so much, Kat. You've been lovely. I look forward to seeing you at the show this Saturday. And yeah, we'll see you again. Looking forward to all your special things coming up. All right, Miss Kat, we have to see the back of your guitar. We have to see the reveal. Also, you have to come Saturday and see it in person anyway. So just so you know. There's a sneak preview. You can't see it too close, so you have to come to the show.